Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back after a quick break back to the adventure mode. So in today's episode, we are going to be staying around for a while and testing just how hard this particular plane of existence can hit us. How much, well, more difficult can the enemies become before we really simply need to up the difficulty. Now, as many of you noticed in the previous episode, I am completely blind. As it does say very clearly, the warp difficulty is currently set to 2.072726. That was a delight to read with dyslexia, you can believe me there. Either way, which means it should be somewhere around about double difficulty from the original zone, at least that's what you would assume. So we're going to stay around for a while. We've already been here for an hour, because as we stay here for longer, more enemies should arrive. So let's just see how difficult this particular difficulty is. That's the main goal of today. Let's see if we can find something quite difficult to fight against us. The word difficulty and difficult are now both sounding really weird. We have a new enemy, and apparently the pause button is working. Not sure why it's working now, since it didn't before, but perhaps there's been some very small change. And once again, it's a really small flyer. I don't know why these are so common in the adventure mode. Now, that's not to say that the smaller flyers can't be more difficult. Of course not. There are a lot of very small vehicles which are classed as godly, but this is definitely not one of them. At an extremely long range of about 3,000 meters, I'm still able to hit it and destroy it despite its size, and I even shot it out of the air before I could get this close. It's a little bit weird, to be perfectly honest, so I think at this point, I really do think we're just going to go on a suicide mission. We are going to go through one of the blue portals, which will massively increase the difficulty. So let's go through a blue portal, then a red portal, and then see how we find it then. On a complete side note, I have now completely removed the spinning shields. The simple reason being, I was hoping, despite the fact they would be less efficient while spinning, they would just be more fun, but ultimately, they just weren't that good. So I've removed them, and all of my normal shields, which are still in the same places as, well, the last few episodes, have been increased in power twofold, so each one of them is now twice as strong. And yes, I am edging towards this blue portal, very tempted to take it. If I take this blue portal, it will massively increase the difficulty of our game, and that would be lovely. Considering we are having people complaining about seeing the most godly and powerful of all ships arriving straight away as soon as they enter a new adventure, seeing this on what is essentially ×2 difficulty is really odd and honestly somewhat insulting. I am not going to be staying in this plane of existence for much longer. As soon as this enemy is dead, which probably won't take much longer honestly, we are going to go into the blue portal and massively raise our difficulty. Also, can you see how weird all of these portals look? Because my point of reference is still technically the aircraft, so everything is bending towards the aircraft. We even have this weird, like, semicircle forming. Yes, that's right, the Vulture is the center of the known universe. Oh, there's a flyer behind us, though. Well, now it's getting a little bit more interesting. What is that flyer? The flyer isn't actually a flyer, it is indeed a white flyer ship, and by the looks of it, not a dedicating ramming ship either. And honestly, a really good looking ship, so that will be a lot of fun shooting torpedoes at. Well, at the moment, it doesn't seem to be in range of us, so what I'm going to do is unpause the game once more, and head towards the little ship we're currently firing at, before turning around and unleashing our torpedoes. And so it begins. The enemy white flyer ship has just started to open fire on us, and so we are going to start firing back ourselves. I was keeping it from firing just until we were in range of at least doing something interesting. There he is. Okay, we're already in range of the torpedoes, so let's fire those away, and then we will get moving away once again. There's no point in allowing him to get close to us. Oh. I was expecting a bit more. AI is dead, ladies and gentlemen. It's gone. Okay. Okay then. Oh, admittedly, I wasn't handling the camera particularly well. Yay for having a break from the depths. Don't worry, next time I'll make sure to have everything in a good position. But I just wanted to prepare the battle, and then I was going to let it play out, and I was going to watch in third-person camera. It was going to be glorious. Let's just go through the blue portal, shall we? So right now we are on difficulty at 2.07, as I discussed earlier. We're going to go through the blue portal, and then we're going to check what the difficulty is once we go through a red portal within the blue zone, because in the blue zone there's no enemies or resource zones, there is only red portals. Okay, so with all that weirdness out of the way, into the abyss we go! That is, if I was in range of my controller. There we are, and down we go. In fact, reverse! This may tip us over, because going full reverse down is really bad for the stabilizers. We're fine! We're fine! Splish! Remember, we are half submarine. We are absolutely fine in every way. In fact, that was one of the more successful maneuvers. So right now, okay, so now it's already 2.6, and all of those in the distance are all red portals. So let's get to one of those and see if we can increase the difficulty, and I promise, I really do promise, we'll be able to see the battle a little bit better next time. We are now in the red zone, which means the difficulty has gone up to 2.9, so I can only assume this should be a lot more scary. I should also really clarify that when I say 2 times difficulty, that really isn't the case. I simply mean 2 times what the warp difficulty is telling me. It probably doesn't double in difficulty every time you go times 2 on that. Otherwise, you would very rapidly be on just complete godly designs, and with nowhere else to go. So whilst I was in the blue zone, I've added 2 new shields, well, 2 new sets of shields, 1 massive shield on the front and 2 shields from the back, so we should be a little bit more protected, and I've increased the power yet again. So at the start of the episode, they were on strength 2, after the minor update, and now they are on strength 6. Most things will not get through these shields, only very slow-moving shots. And is that land? I'm assuming that's just a graphical glitch. I guess we should get moving and try to find a resource zone and just hang out for a while. Onwards! Close the door for safety, because now I'm safe. The first enemy has been found, and oh wow, this is a retro design. This is from the White Flyers. It's a tiny little missile launcher, but honestly, it's a little bit more deadly than it looks. It isn't the best protected, it's quite easy to kill, but those missiles are annoyingly effective, and because it's using the lovely laser there, we have very little protection against it. At least it should hopefully hit us, although we are using very long-range weapons, which some people have complained about because we can kill most things at long range. Even very difficult opponents can be countered, and don't worry, I can't see a thing either. I'll make sure to stay out of its range until it's daytime again. They aren't quite in range of our torpedoes just yet, but I've decided to let loose a quick warning volley just to see how far away they are. So those torpedoes tend to go around about 3,000 meters away from the launch pad, meaning that the enemy is at least 6,000. Now I could check using the local weapons controllers, but where's the fun in that, when you can simply shoot missiles as a form of measuring things? It's definitely close enough now. Release the torpedoes, activate the main guns. Let's say hello to our enemy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that just... that was... Ooh, that was quick. Remember when I said I promised I'd see the fight? Well, once again, gave them a bit too much credit there. That's dead. That is dead. Armor-piercing rounds, long range. Poorly armoured opponent. Boom. Torpedoes? Oh, you got so close. You got so close this time. You are so devastating when you hit the target. You got so close. Oh, shall we stay in this area for a bit longer, or should we move on? I don't even know if that was an easy opponent or a normal on the regular game. Oh, I don't know what to do anymore. Whoops-a-daisy, we've just went through yet another portal. What a terrible shame that is indeed. So, one more portal. We are now on difficulty 3.2. We've been here for 10 seconds. Should I go through more? I am really tempted. I just can't convey how much this bothers me. I really want to... I mean, it's going to sound stupid now. I kind of want to die. I mean... Not myself, of course, but my lovely robot here. I want something which can kill us. Now, I do understand we are using weaponry, which is a massive counter to most builds, but there are plenty of medium-range, long-range vessels, a lot of the more difficult ones, which can at least take a few hits, even if we do counter a massive battleship. What it does mean is I'm going to have to be somewhat careful with how I position myself. I'm going to have to move away from the target constantly to lead them on. I'm going to have to kite them. The missiles and the torpedoes will have a chance to do their amazing damage. I mean, I even have them firing so far away from the vessel purely for that initial burst of speed. To start off with, they go around about 400 meters per second, which is very, very fast for a torpedo. Of course, then they have that falling time, then they go back to being a regular torpedo, but after testing out just torpedoes dropping straight down and torpedoes being flung forward, the ones being flung forward are much, much better, even if you shoot them into the water if you fire them directly down. The only problem I do have is, if we increase the difficulty too far, we are sending what is essentially a very unfinished flyer against things which are very well tuned. A lot of the flyers from the Grey Talons, for instance, would completely obliterate us with no chance of me surviving. The same can be said for some of the Scarlet Dawn ships, particularly the endgame ones, and of course even the Lightning Hoods do have a lot of potential. Even if we do have a lot of laser protection, they will still kill us. Happily. Either way though, I'm going to continue until we are on difficult 4, unless we see something to kill. And yes, I meant difficulty. I'm a little bit tired, apparently. I just don't understand. This is about 4,000 meters away from the target, and let's say goodbye to what looks very similar to the starter craft you get if you go into the vehicle designer. I don't even know what that was, but it is now dead. I think we are just proving, time and time again, the difficulty system is still a little bit off in this game. I don't know what to do. Do I just keep on going? See, the problem is, every time I go through a red portal, it means we are resetting how fast the enemies are attacking us. The longer you stay in one plane, the more enemies attack you. So, should I just have faith that on 3.5 difficulty, there will be vessels, sometimes that will be a challenge? I think that's what we need to do now. I've gone through another blue portal. I am on currently harder and on 3.5. I should be able to find things that will kill us. So let's go to a few resource zones, collect some resources, and perhaps do some work on the craft, rather than just wandering around aimlessly, becoming more and more befuzzled. Oh, this poor little thing. This poor, completely wooden contraption from the Deepwater Guard is currently heading towards us. With such determination, and the best thing is, I know this craft. It has no anti-air weaponry. It drops bombs. It literally can't hurt us. I'm sorry that this whole episode is just devolving into me complaining. I quickly looked on the forums and people having the same problem as me. This is a very early game mode, but come on. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Say goodbye. Only one of the guns is even firing since we're completely straight against the enemy. Admittedly, we're not doing that fantastic a job, but it's already going down. Our ship is built to kill very heavy, very slow-moving targets. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's just... Stop, guys. Stop. I'm going to capture it. Screw it, we're capturing it and taking it with us. I need to. So first of all, I just decided to have a quick look at our aircraft and see why we were missing so many shots. It turns out we're not tracking speed very well at the moment, so I will be changing that with our detection systems very, very soon. Simply put, I had no idea how fast the enemy were going, which means for the most part, we were either overshooting or undershooting all of our shells. We need to get closer than this. This is a bit too far away still, so let's move a little bit closer to the wreckage. I mean, it's still trying, though. I mean, it's still trying. You've got to give it credit. Oh, well, about to ram into it. Hello, buddy. Do you have a heartstone? Yes, you do. Okay, then. So... Oh, please stop ramming into the What did I just say? Well, fine, then. We're going to ram it all the way. So, where is your AI, oh little one? As my gun destroys you by ramming you. Please don't detonate the explosive barrels. I see it. Okay. Be very careful. Is it ours? There we go. It's turned into a lovely... Oh, it's turned into a circus attraction. Fantastic. Just like the Onyx watch on the campaign series. Now what I'm going to do is very quickly go to the back section, which is still incomplete, and we are going to very rapidly attach to ourselves a docking station. The reason being, we are going to be dragging it along with us the entire way. Docking station, Shrike, select this vehicle, yes. A little bit further out, and let's make it so it's facing directly away from us. Like that. I'll do that once it's actually repaired. There we are, that looks better. Should have been on 45, really. I think we just left it on 44 or something. I'd have thought 45 would have been the correct measure. Certainly seems like it. Okay, get repaired. And we'll try and fix this up. Well, there we are, a poor clown version of the Deepwater Guard currently following us just behind, and that should work even when we're moving forwards. Now, right now, it's completely useless. We could scrap this, get the resource, but I feel like that would be wasteful, all things considered. What we could do is add a set of control blocks so that its AI is only online once it's being released, and we will release it and take it back, depending on how close enemies are. But that would require at least a little bit of a refit, because the Shrike is there to be more of an annoyance than anything else. It's actually quite a good early game aircraft, because it's not too difficult to shoot down, but if you don't shoot it down, it will absolutely destroy you with its bombs. The bombs deal a lot of damage, and it has a huge payload. It's a good example for new players to fight against, because easy to counter, however, if you don't counter it, you're dead. But for now, I think I'll just take it with me. I'll do something maybe off camera with it, I'm not sure. What we could do is save it... Oh, I know what we should do. I know what we should do. This is so silly, but we're doing it anyway. Where is the... What I'm looking for is the sub-vehicle spawner. And we are going to make it into one of ours. So you need to let go for a second. Bye-bye. Oh... Oh, of course, they're not in the same group right now. So you two... Can I even make them... Apply dock. Can I even make them the same group in this mode? Since I can't go to map mode right now, is the problem. So I can't... I don't know if I can actually make these go into the same group, which means I don't think I can add it as a sub-vehicle. What a shame. That would have been so funny to have this as a permanent slave edition. Oh well, at least I can very easily go into this mode and simply press release dock if I ever do want it to do some fighting, so it's not difficult to do. Just more manual, which honestly might be a better thing anyway, so okay, we will use it for fights when we have an enemy to fight, and perhaps when we're out of the fog of death. I am very, very silly, especially considering how long I've played this game. Of course, I can make these merge together into one fleet. I completely forgot I still have all of these options by selecting them and pressing E whilst in the tactical map. I sort of forgot that the tactical map was a type of map and not just for me to check out what's currently attacking me. So there we are now currently one group, which means I should be able to take you as part of my sub-vehicle. So now we are one save. And so, we save the Vulture once again. After being here for already over half an hour, I've decided we are going to go through yet another blue gate. The difficulty is going to be ramped up a lot right now. So we are on 3.8 and now we are on 4.6 on type alone, because of course this is a blue gate, this is a blue zone, there are no enemies here. However, once we exit through yet another red gate, we should have something nice to try and attack us. At least, that's what I've been telling myself every single time I've been going through the gates. Now, I would just like to make this clear. The only reason why we're not going through every single red gate we can see and upping the difficulty massively is because that's not really what I even want. I want a slow upping in difficulty. Every time I feel like we can kill things in the zone very, very easily, I wish to go through a difficulty increase and see a clear difficulty increase and then kill those and make our craft better in order to do that. At the moment, I feel like I'm several steps ahead of the things I'm fighting, and I just don't want to suddenly end up in an area where I'm fighting things which will just ultimately kill me instantly. I may have already said that like 10 times during this recording, but I have now been recording for well over 3 hours, and very little to show for it. Through the red gate we go. Now this is the last gate I am going to go through until at least the end of the episode. I am now going to dedicate at least an hour, a minimum of an hour, simply going around here, collecting resource zones like I was in the previous area, and hopefully we will encounter an enemy very soon. Now where is our pet? It's all the way back there. Yeah, here's one problem with using this. It doesn't quite grab the flyer as fast as we move, so every now and again, we are going to have to just wait for our little Shrike to catch up. The Shrike and the Vulture, friends at last. Over the course of the last 2 hours, we have been fighting nothing but the smallest of opponents. I've probably included a small montage before this clip, and so we are going to go after even more red and blue portals. I really am starting to think that perhaps there's been a hotfix or something which I've simply missed, in which the difficulty spawn rates have been changed, so you really need to keep on going through as many red portals as possible before we start fighting some more fearsome opponents. That's the only explanation I can think of. I have been so sheepish so far about going into red portals after seeing some of the more fearsome opponents at the start of the game, and now I'm just completely clueless as to what the difficulties even mean. Is difficulty 5.6 even remotely difficult? From what we've seen so far, no, it's really not. One of the broadsiding Onyx Watch approaches us. Now, it's been a while since we've seen this. Look at how much the Vulture has grown since we last fought your kind, ship. It's simply evaporating. On the upside though, that is going to be a lot of resource even if we don't capture it. I could turn off my weapon right now, and hopefully it won't be too destroyed. Nope, it's okay. That is definitely... Oh yeah, I fired torpedoes. Yep, I definitely fired torpedoes. 2 damaged, goodbye. I was hoping perhaps I could board it and use it for resource, but there it goes. Definitely one of the weaker of the Onyx Watch broadsiders. Now that is more like it. It has an advanced cannon, it has some armor, and it has other weapons. This is at least the minimum of what I should be fighting, and currently we are in difficulty 5.6. We are still fighting a lot of very small opponents, but at least it does seem like the difficulty is increasing a little bit. The other small opponents were somewhat variable at least. They had the Scarlet Dawn, they had the Steel Striders, and they had the Twin Guard. So hopefully, if we increase the difficulty a little bit more, we will be seeing this type of enemy as the minimum, and be seeing some of the larger, more scary opponents appear as a rarity. At least that's all I can ask for. Bit too far away though right now. That looked really, really painful. Once again, that's more like what I should be seeing, one of the slightly more difficult Deepwater Guard. If this is the new minimum, then I'm pretty darn happy. I feel like going through a couple more red portals will probably get us finally to the area we really need to be in. Not only for just the fun of it, but also for more resource per kill. Looks like a lot of these smaller guns are down, the back gun is out of ammo, and there goes the rest of the ship in glorious explosions. And still at a fairly decent rate as well. Although, what was all the little explosions in the water there? That's very concerning. I'm hoping they were just from the shells of the thing we're currently shooting at. Are there any other enemies currently? No, there are not, and thus it must have just been some of the shells it was firing simply missing. We took 0 damage. Still be nice to see a few more scarier opponents, but that is definitely a slightly more difficult opponent than some of the things we've been seeing so far. And we have a handy-dandy red portal right next to us, so let's go through that and go to the next zone. We are currently in 5.6, let's see if we can get to maybe 7 by the end of the episode. Now this might not seem too difficult, but just look at how well this is surviving an attack. Now admittedly the shots aren't perfectly hitting it, because I still have a lot to do with the detection system, but even when we are hitting the target, it's not doing all that much damage because of the shielding. In addition to that, the advanced cannons were damaging us. We are definitely on the right track. We are currently now on 6.2. And will we destroy it? It is definitely a white flyer, and we will eventually kill this, I'm sure. There we are, finally. Goodbye. Still proving once again that the Vulture is definitely better against slower targets and things which are heavily armoured, not things which are particularly well shielded or are particularly quick. I'm afraid we have reached that time again in which I am all out of time for today's episode. We are now on warp difficulty 6.8, so hopefully next time when we get to warp difficulty 10, we should be facing off against much more amazing opponents. Enemies which will be able to hurt us back and will put up a much better fight. At least this time round we did get the little Shrike as our new pet, and I do apologise for the negativity throughout the video, depending on how much I kept in the edit, considering I have been playing now for the last 9 hours, and am incredibly tired because of that. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, we are going to do something far more interesting. I don't care what it is, but we will do something fun, because today has just been a test of patience above all else. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.